Welcome to the Heartland Journal's Tennessee podcast with your host, Steve Abramowitz, editor-in-chief of heartlandjournal.com.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to the show. I'm Steve Abramowitz, and this is the Heartland Journal podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and pass it around. We only grow with your help. Thanks for doing it. On this show, we are focusing on our nation today with always an interesting person, making a positive change in our community, where I interview people who are making an impact and are lovers of the truth. Today, we are talking with special guest Mike Snider. Formed in 1898, WME is the longest-running talent agency. In 2009, William Morris Agency, WMA, merged with Endeavor to become one of the leading entertainment and media companies with an unparalleled list of artists and content creators. In 2014, WME acquired IMG, the global leader in sports, events, media, and fashion, forming Endeavor. WME provided their clients and partners with global access and insights into every facet of entertainment and sports. Across the company, they represented top artists, creators, and leaders in every category. Mike Snider stands as the center of the Christian entertainment landscape, helming the Christian division at William Morris Endeavor. With over 2 decades of diverse expertise, his symphony of roles has ranged from musician to agent, each note played with exceptional acumen. He steered Third Coast Artist Agency until it acquired its acquisition by Paradigm Agency in 2012. Snider's strategic move to WME in 2014 was a crescendo that solidified his status, culminating in a partnership in 2020. From Nashville's vibrant heart, he orchestrates film and TV endeavors, amplifying his clients' vision on the global stage. I can't wait to get to know him, so let's go. I hope you like it. Mike, thank you for coming. How are you today?
I am good. Monday morning.
It is a very rare occasion for Heartland Journal to be up this early and doing this show, but here we are. The show must go on. All right, serious stuff. William Morris, 127 years, 1898.
Crazy.
Movies and sound, for those who aren't aware, started in 1927, so it's before that. Color didn't even hit the screens until 1909. Technicolor, 1920s. 1967 was the first year that color overtook black and white. Let's talk about William Morris first, and then how you got involved.
Oh, so William Morris Endeavor now, which, William Morris 10, 12 years ago was bought by Endeavor. They merged the two companies.
Sports and entertainment came together.
Yeah, which made him a real force. Ari and Patrick then went on a spree of building new businesses and buying new businesses and kind of the idea to go public. It's when I came in, which is 12 or 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I got right at kind of almost the beginning of that. So it was a real exciting time.
And how long was WME in the Christian division business?
So interesting enough, one of the agents that works for me right now, Mark Klassen, worked at William Morris back in the day when I had my own agency called Third Coast Artists, and they shut the Christian department down for about 10 years before I came back and started it back up. So they've been back in it since I've been there, but we're in it probably 15 years before, run by a great guy named Charles Doris. Still kind of dabbles in the business a little bit, manages some different people and books some people. But yeah, they decided to get out of it, which CAA has gotten out of it as well now.
Yeah, which is interesting. Why, it's almost 20 years now since Passion of the Christ proved the business model. Why would they have gotten out?
It's interesting when I talk to my folks, as far as the content and movie side, being a sustainable business on the face side, it's just a hit, and then a couple years later, another hit. It's not like this constant of putting out, I'm not saying great stuff, but things that work, right? And I will say over the last, 6 or 7 years, I started a company called Third Coast
Film
Content first with a guy named Ben Howard, which was supported by Ari. I pitched it to him and he got really excited. Richard White's, all those guys, they all really kind of helped me to try and get this thing going. seeing the potential, seeing what Sony was doing and some successes, we actually, signed the Irwin brothers, cut their deal at Lionsgate. So it was starting to roll a little bit, but it's so inconsistent as far as what we're able to really do and the hits. Imagine obviously was a big hit. Passion was a big hit. There are some out there, but that's just kind of what they tell me. But so much has changed in the last even 3 years.
Exactly.
Since we started.
Sound of Freedom came out. And
it's just crazy. And so
I can only imagine 2 was coming out.
I'm really excited about that. That turned out really, really well. Script is good. The acting is great. We were able to pull off a Red Rocks moment that is just really powerful and huge. No one's ever done that before. So there's a lot of fun things going on with that. But
as in the concert venue where the
concert venue.
Rush, I saw Rush there, and so
Yeah.
that is on film because they've videoed that. But you're saying
but in an
he's
actual
going to have
movie,
awesome.
Like we spent
it's about
out,
time,
yeah. It's like actually a setting in a movie, actually at Red Rocks, not a concert video,
right?
An actual movie,
setting for
the setting for a movie, backstage, being there. It was really funny. We had the show last about an hour, then we broke for like 3 hours to film the movie, and then everybody stayed, and then MercyMe came out and played for another hour till about 1 a.m.
MercyMe did.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So it's basically a acoustic set of their own without anybody there to really know or pay tickets for?
No, we actually, I booked it in with AEG. It was an interesting story. When the script was finished, this is silly, when the script was finished, it had Red Rocks because the story called for this big crescendo moment at Red Rocks. And they called me, the Irwins called me and said, or Andy called and said, we needed Red Rocks. And I said, that's just impossible. Like that's in 4 months and we're booking 26 and 27 right now. The venue goes so fast. And so I went, and it was last maybe October. And then I went and I played in a golf tournament at Pinehurst. This is a silly story. In November.
Pinehurst, Atlanta or UK?
Pinehurst in North Carolina, where they have the big golf tournament.
Oh, okay.
It was like this industry golf thing with all these industry people. And I got partnered with a guy at AEG from Denver that runs Red Rocks. And during the round, I kind of told him my situation. By the end of the round, he had me 3 dates to look at. I called them. We got the date. It was the first date of Red Rocks concert season in April, and we were able to pull it off. It was kind of funny.
Golf and the business.
Golf
it
and
goes
the business,
together.
right? Everyone says, I need to learn golf. And I'm like, you kind of do.
You kind of do. And still to this day, it's an amazing thing. So does the talent have to be a self-professed Christian in order to be signed?
Signed with me?
Well, we're still in the William Morris world, I guess.
Well, of course, no. I mean, the only, like my department as a whole of our, it's the biggest entertainment representative agency in the world and has been. So for me, I feel that you do, because what I do touches mostly everything in faith. And even though using your word heartland, even though I do those kind of things, the clients, the talent that I represent, from production companies to musicians to everybody, they're believers, yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
I don't ask them.
But you can tell.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Anyway, it usually works to my benefit. I have different examples of that working, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think that's great. It wouldn't exist without you. Does this division only exist in the Nashville location?
it does.
It does. So Kirk Franklin, MercyMe, Chris Tomlin, For King and Country are some of the key Christian artists at WME. How Christian is WME?
They're very Jewish, very kind of, I shouldn't, but
If it's a fact,
it is. It's a fact. Ari Emanuel, he's liberal, Jewish. Rahm Emanuel's his brother, the mayor of Chicago, very liberal, Democrat, completely opposite of my department. And to be honest, Nashville. So Nashville is, I'd say, pretty in the middle. The Beverly Hills office, which is our mothership, and then we have New York, which does theater, which is very liberal as well.
Okay.
A lot of our non-scripted theater books is in New York, and what you would think Hollywood was in Beverly Hills is what it is. It's a very big office. It's the best of the best agents with the best and the biggest and the best clients, from the talent to the producers, the writers, the directors, the music side, the contemporary side. Nashville is pretty much country, some pretty good contemporary, and Christian. We have just
I've
started
been saying on this show many, many times, I call it Hollywood East, and you are the reason it is becoming Hollywood East because of what you just said.
Correct.
It really is.
Yeah.
And one of these days, we're going to drop the Hollywood East part and just call it Nashville entertainment capital of the world.
Yeah.
Multi-Grammy and Dove Awards. We're not big fans of the Academy Awards or the Emmy Awards because of what they've done these days, but that's good news. Top charting albums and tours. So it's working.
It's working.
That's the business model I was talking about, which is surprising. They dropped it for a while, but now they brought it back. Are their economics favorable to Christian contemporary music compared to, say, pop, where Taylor Swift broke the records for the best movie, last year, and then she had all the top 10 Billboard singles at one time, which I think was also a record. She had that Eras tour, over $2 billion, about 150 shows in 2 years. Are their economics favorable to CCM?
It's interesting. I do believe. I mean, right now we're doing very, very well. Right, the business is really sustaining itself. I think the last little Billboard things that came out, with Brandon and Forrest Frank and Kirk and some others, like top 10 streaming sales in the world comparing to everybody else is Christian for the first times ever. There's 2-3 clients in the top 10 all the time that are Christian. So everybody's paying attention now where they weren't before. This niche that was doing really well, there are little things that happen like a Passion of the Christ or an I Can Only Imagine movie or a Lauren Daigle, our client, breaks out and crosses over and people start paying attention. But like everything else, it's not consistent. And so we've kind of been in our own little world. But with middle America, with where the country is, with where faith is right now, there's revival all over the country. 20-somethings are all going back to church, listening to Christian music, independent Christian music, not at a label, not crossover, just Christian artists that are just having extreme success, selling tickets. Like, it's in a really interesting place.
He works in mysterious ways, and he's using you at the right place at the right time.
Yeah. And so we can't compete. It's interesting. We have Zach Bryan as one of our clients, and you just mentioned Taylor. They're out selling out Michigan football stadium and Notre Dame stadium. We don't do that kind of business. It's just there is a different level of pop stardom that we have yet to be able to do. But we have moments. I mean, look at the Charlie Kirk thing yesterday. I had 2 artists that performed there. That was at the stadium. That was crazy. And
300,000 people.
It was nuts.
Zach Bryan actually won the first annual Heartland Awards for Best Singer Male Vocalist. So we're connected in that way too.
Well, there you go. I did not know that.
We did. We mailed his award to his PR firm, and who knows if he actually got it. Yeah.
Well, I'll check and see.
I'll show you a picture. I'd love to get a picture of him with it. Harry Bromley Davenport. Did I say that right?
I don't know.
Piano American Grand 2013.
Wow.
Did you have anything to do with that?
No, that's WME though.
That was WME.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of thought maybe. But it was an amazing way of putting the American Grand Piano into the situation, a lot like your Where I'm Bound with the gospel quartet. So
yes, for sure.
I figured it was in your DNA. And your division lists a wide range of services to help clients thrive in the music and entertainment industry. What kind of services would that be?
Well, I mean, the modern day talent agency is as broad as you can imagine it. And even from the fact that we own UFC and WWE, and IMG models, but from everything from branding and sponsorships to lit to book to talent, acting. Is this a question you're asking me?
Speakers, yeah.
Speakers. We have a speakers bureau, the Harry Walker Agency that we bought 4 or 5 years ago. That's the best of the best, has all of the biggest speakers and authors. It really is a playground for talent. And so if you're focused on music and you have an artist like a Kirk Franklin or a Lauren Daigle, which are on the face side, or a Tasha Cobbs or a MercyMe, where we can go out and do. I've sold a Kirk Franklin movie to Netflix and a Tasha Cobbs movie to Netflix. We did the Jeremy Camp movie with, we get to do things that others don't get to do. And
that's what I find so amazing, because obviously, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came out of football.
Right.
Burt Reynolds came out of football. And then back in those days, it was like, well, what are the other? Now, the way your establishment is in the industry, you can be, and they always say it's kind of a joke, actors really want to be rock stars, and rock stars really want to be actors, like Johnny Depp, for example. You get to play that whole 360-degree deal that Live Nation wants for, I don't know, could it be Dennis Quaid, who has a band, or Kevin Costner, who likes to play 100%.
Music? And some of it's just them wanting to do, like you said, I'm an actor, I want to be an artist. I'm an athlete, I want to be, and it is really funny how we look at these football players that want tickets to go to a Faith show or a Zach Bryan show or whatever. They're just eat up with it. And then the artists are the same way. They go stand on a sideline. They all want to be the other one. It's really funny. But we can take a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and build his brand. We got involved in the football league. We get involved in his,
right.
All the things that are
his TV show.
All of it. Like we touch all of it. He has different agents that touch every part and every facet of what you want to do and build a global brand. And that on a major level we can do. And we can also do micro, but I like to say all the time, even to our agents, if you're looking to just be a booking agent and book shows, or if you're looking to just book your talent on a show, you're really missing it. Like the goal should be much bigger than that.
Yeah, a franchise of every quality actor and actress that can do this.
And some of them aren't capable of doing it, and some of them you just, when you meet with them, you're like, I can do a lot with this.
Yeah, Taylor Swift was in Cats. She can act.
Yeah,
not really, but
not really.
She'll get better with time. Does crossover exist for signed talent in Nashville to be pushed in the other offices, or are they ignored in Nashville, and so Nashville is its own little ecosystem?
I used to feel that they were ignored. I don't really feel that anymore.
Okay.
I think a lot of that is agent driven. If the agent thinks bigger and you sign something, you just have to reach across the aisle, and you have to spend some time in Beverly Hills. You have to spend some time in New York. And a lot of it depends on the artist. But I really do feel, I can tell the story. Even like with me starting the Faith film thing, Ari Emanuel, who has zero interest in anything of Faith, was interested in being the best. Is there a business there, and can we be the best? Mm-hmm. What do you need to build the business and to be the best? And he did not have a problem with it at all. I find more trouble on the Nashville side, less with Faith and more with politics. Does that make sense?
It does, because it's a very blue city.
Very blue city. And so if I'm dealing with the West Coast, they're going, like working with the Daily Wire, for example.
Okay.
I'm working on a movie right now with the Daily Wire, with the Jason Aldean song that was polarizing yet massive.
Small town.
Yep. They're so excited about it. I couldn't get any real interest internally because it's scary. I could bring them Passion of the Christ and they would accept it more than try that in a small town. Now in the Nashville office, they don't have a problem with it. But the Nashville office doesn't do that. I have to go outside of my own office. I'm one of the only ones in the Nashville office that do those things.
Well, so we happen to know of that story where his PR firm, after many, many years, dropped him because not necessarily it was at the same time as that song, which came out of it, but he went online and defended his wife for saying she's glad she grew out of her tomboy stage and, love you, honey. And then the mob came for him, and they actually dropped him, even with all the bazillions of dollars that he was going to be making for them and had in the past. That's green room. I can say it. You probably shouldn't. But it's another one of those examples where they let their ideology, their politics get in the way of the business.
Right.
And we also had Mike Blanton on here.
I know Mike.
Okay. Well, Mike discovered Amy Grant, and he told us a funny story about when they went out to L.A., they were treated like, the hillbillies that no one wanted to talk to, and then they had to go prove the concept to make $1 bazillion like they did with Michael W. Smith and Amy Grant. You already have that.
Yeah.
So they have to listen to you. You proved it.
Well, we have proved it, and Mike, paved the way of a lot of those things. That was the original business that was started where people were like, oh, they're selling out arenas and they can do this and they can sell the records. That was a time, that was CAA, John Huey. Those guys did a wonderful job of kind of carving that path for us. But it's even grown. The music's gotten better. We're using it's been a fun run for me.
Well, you put a Cody Johnson behind the microphone on a country song, and it's going to sound a heck of a lot better than, somebody maybe in your church, that the pastor put up there because it's fun kid from high school. They become great.
Yeah.
I think that's Carrie Underwood's story, but you have to know this, and the business will prove it. They'll sell out a concert tour. All right, let's do more of that.
Let's do more. And again, so when the business is good, the ideology seems to get pushed back. But when, I don't even know why I brought that up, but it does seem when it gets political is when they stop caring about the money or whatever. And
Well, you have to bring it up because that has been the anchor on the industry where it could very well. I mean, back in the day, MGM was doing like the Ten Commandments with, Charlton Heston, and they were doing El Cid, and they were doing all of this.
100, yeah.
And it was it. And if you go look in the Library of Congress, all the best songs, all the best movies that made the most money, that have the most legs, are faith-based in some way, shape, or form. It's not for these days, maybe the Matrix, but there is a biblical, study in there too.
There's people, yeah.
So what is your vision for the future of Christian music?
My vision, I believe, I hope, right now we're seeing a real trend for the music to be real and authentic and it not be necessarily, it's just with what's going on and with young culture and church and revival, the next breakout artists, I believe, that come out of my world could potentially be independent, like not at Capitol, not at wherever, where they have to get K-Love Radio and all those kind of things. They're going to just truly be great artists that are Christians, that we gravitate to, sell out arenas, have big songs, and labels are...
So are you saying something like a undiscovered currently out of Lionsgate or out of Angel Studios, or something that I don't know. I guess back in the day, you could have a Liz Taylor. No one ever heard of her before until she became everybody's favorite, or Barbra Streisand. That's what you're saying, is that?
I'll say there's two different things you're asking me, because I play in two different worlds. Music's my core business,
yes.
Right? Content is my side hustle. Okay. I love doing it because they let me, and I'm old, and I want to just do things that I want to have fun doing, and I get to work with who I want to work with. On the music side, music is trending to go a direction that is going to turn Christian music upside down, where it's going to be more mainstream. The Christian labels are going to have to adapt and become more mainstream, and not necessarily just feed it through the funnel of Christian radio, and that has gotten really old. Fortunately, it's at a perfect time where the younger generation is not scared to like things of faith, right? But it can't suck, right? It's got to be great. It's got to be competitive. And these young kids are coming up, not even necessarily out of church, but falling in love with God and writing about it. And not everything they write about is going to be about God. On the content side, I really see a shift needing to happen. And I will say this, in Christian film and TV seems to be a few years behind music. Christian music is a few years behind the general market, right? Mm-hmm. And they're going to have to start telling, I don't want to say better stories. They're going to need to start telling different stories, right? They right now have been and a lot of these guys are my friends, singing to the choir. Safe. They're being really safe. They're not really they're making great content, and it's like the music side when they're
going after the 25% of the easy market. Correct. Where they need to start building up on the other 50% of Correct. The harder places to reach.
If they're not careful, they're going to continue to make movies for the 25% and hope for an Imagine to break out, right?
Or Need to Breathe.
Great example, right? Or they can start pushing the envelope a little bit, and they can start telling some stories that may have too much of an edge for that 25% and not worry about them and help them come along, but that other 50 to whatever percent will be
now we're into late Elvis, Johnny Cash. That's what they did.
That's what they did. Wow.
The model was there.
Yeah.
They just let it go away because I think the executives decided it was too preachy.
Yeah.
But look what they did.
Yeah.
Legends, classics.
But I think you have, I think with the success of content with Middle America right now and Hollywood trying to figure out how to get in the mix, and with me sitting in meetings, they go, sitting in a meeting at Netflix, they go, we just don't get pitched this stuff. We don't work with artists, writers, directors.
But the most secular of them all, Amazon, decided to go with House of David.
Correct.
And now they're on season 2, $200 million so far in the budget.
Yeah,
that's huge.
That's massive, actually. And so now they're looking, and so they're going to go find other things. The key is, can we consistently put that out? Is House of David going to be the next House of David going to come along in 5 years, or is it going to come next year? Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what Hollywood sees. It's like, can we keep it going? They're not. They, meaning they. The West Coast, they're catching up. They're trying to figure it out, and a lot of them
make 11 Mission Impossibles and Fast and Furiouses. They could make a couple of House of Davids.
So they just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
the
are
script's
they
already
going to
written.
jump
They don't
in,
even have
or
to do that.
is it going to be the folks here that we know that are going to do it? Is it going to be them? Is it going to be a combo? At least that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Whatever it's worth.
It looks like Disney kind of learned their lesson that the tax incentives in Georgia were not all that worth it, and they ended up moving it to the UK, where it's got to be more expensive. I don't even know why they would do that versus, say, come to Nashville. So even the business of the business has sort of realized that we have to make the things that sell tickets, and there aren't no more Mission Impossibles, apparently. So what's the future of Christian film and streaming? That seems to be the new frontier.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you've talked to a lot of different people. You know, the biggest thing that we have to figure out is distribution, right? You're talking about Amazon and House of David, and you've got the Wonder folks there. You've got Kingdom here. We need more players in the game, and we need more buyers, and we need more people to understand. And so it's distribution. Who's buying? You know, the film business is, I like to say, isn't a real business.
Right.
You know, and
Pure Flix kind of went away, so.
Yeah. And maybe it will come back.
Yeah.
You know, like there is something's out there that's going to happen. There's a lot of people trying it, whether it's the right people or not the right people. The hearts are right. Something's going to happen in time. But I think the future right now, like now's the time. Like,
you can make a nice living by just posting your cat videos on TikTok. I mean, if you released a full-length film on TikTok and everybody paid per click, you could probably get a nice budget for the sequel.
So if you can make something cheap enough, you can make money on YouTube if you can build a brand. I have this project called The Thorn, which is like a Cirque passion play. Just sold out 3 nights in Louisville, opened up this weekend at the same time. There was this huge rock festival at the same time. We're talking about they can drive people to YouTube or Dude Perfect or like all these things. They really do sustain a massive living by running things through distributing their own on YouTube. That's all going to change. It's all going to grow. Can we afford to release some of our things there? Is there going to be a new streamer that comes along? But finding people that will buy it and air it instead of us just making movies and crossing our fingers and hoping for the best and getting the same people to throw them out there and the box office is not being great. We make a lot.
With Larry Ellison now buying Paramount, CNN, ABC, TikTok, they get 80% of it apparently with this deal. I wouldn't be surprised if the next Mission Impossible, the prequel, whatever they decide to do, goes right out to TikTok, and they'll make a lot of money.
So massive.
So massive.
Yeah, it's all changing, and you obviously are you know a lot. It's fun to listen to you speak, is watching music go through no more, when we lost our CD sales and we tried to figure out streaming, the labels got small, doom and gloom, and us finding our way out of it. Music consumption has never been so great.
Right.
It's at an all-time high. Labels are thriving. Music discovery is thriving. Algorithms are like independent artists. It's a really exciting time in music. It's a really scary time still in content and TV and film.
Especially the last strike, they weren't really hitting the issues they needed to.
No, they were not.
Yeah.
But we just got to work through it, figure it out. And so when I say distribution, it's like, where is this stuff going to play? How are we going to get paid? Is it going to be less? I mean, maybe those grand days of selling $29.99 CDs, Garth Brooks selling gajillions of them, he can't do that anymore. Same thing's probably going to happen with Hollywood and movies. Maybe it won't be as big.
Amazon started as a book-selling company.
I know.
And then, of course, CDs. And there were no CDs, so they started to stream. They put all the mom-and-pop bookstores, not all of them, but enough of them out of business because there was an easy way to have it delivered to your door versus, go walk through the stores and search and hunt and peck. Movies were inevitable. They used to do it in hotel rooms where you'd stream a movie. And so we knew the technology was always there, but it was very expensive. And how often are you in a hotel?
Right.
Everyone remodeled their homes during COVID. And so we've all got big screens, 4K, the whole big thing.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, of course, is just everywhere. You can't get away from it.
Yep.
Whether it be an assassination of somebody or like they said, the cat videos. I think we will see. Most people get their music from YouTube too. They may not be looking at it while they're driving, but it's playing through the speakers, and it sounds pretty darn good. All right.
No, YouTube is like a huge,
and
music
TikTok
player.
will be bigger, I think.
Do you have a TikTok account?
Well, the podcast
The
does, but I
podcast
don't. Yeah, not personal. I don't like it. I mean, I'm old school. I'm against these things, but I see where the money is, and I
It's
know
so
that
hard.
these people, these influencers, are making millions. I just did an article, and this show is not about me, but I just literally
I wanna know about you.
tickling the algorithm,
Yeah.
where literally you jump on a headline. Normally, you create your content by just seeing what's trending today on Twitter, but if you want to be really, really gross, you see, oh, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I knew of him from 10 years ago.
Here's a picture.
And yes, I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah.
I'll make a whole week worth of salacious things that people will tickle. They'll come to. I'll make a ton of money, maybe to offset my lawsuit in France. But that's the business model. And so why not a feature-length film that I'm going to show on my big screen anyway? So that leads me to this question. Mel Gibson's Passion was one of the highest grossing R-rated films. I think Deadpool surpassed it, but at the time a record $610 million worldwide. Passion 2 is coming out in 2 parts in 2027.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that movie will do to the genre of Christian films? Is it going to put wind in its sails like Passion did, or do you think it might actually disappoint? That was 21 years ago, and it didn't exist. It was like
New.
the founder.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what a deep, great question. I haven't really processed that far in advance. I know Randall; he's excited about it. I want to believe it's really hard. I mean, even with I Can Only Imagine 2, what's that going to do? As good as it is, the theaters have changed since Passion came out 3 times.
Yeah. Since I Can Only Imagine.
Since I Can Only Imagine came
Yeah.
out, it's changed. So are people going to, is that, we are a blockbuster world, so I don't know if they have to do quite the same campaigning they did the first time because everybody is now aware of it. Probably a little easier to ignite an army to get to the theaters for it. I would say if it,
And The Chosen broke that model too, because you don't go to the theater to see the new installment like Mission Impossible. You stay home and watch it on your screen.
although The Chosen then will take their first 3 episodes of the season and do a Fathom event and break Fathom records.
Yeah.
And people will go to support. We've had the longest time where people will go see Christian films because they're Christian films, whether they're good or not. We're finally starting, well, I'm not saying we've never made good ones, but they're good now, or they're better.
Yeah.
I think it needs to get better. They need to push the envelope a little bit.
I like Spartacus, but yeah. And that was a must-see on big screen.
Must see.
But on the Sandal movies, not Gladiator, but let's say Chosen, you can stay home and watch it.
You can stay home and watch it. It becomes, and honestly, they did a really good job. Dialogue's great. Characters are great. I think with Passion, I haven't really thought about it, but that's a good question. I think it could, blow up. Gosh, it could. That's an opportunity, isn't it? To
It
be
sure
a
is.
real phenomenon. Just like everybody, break all the records. And you know what? 2027, we could be at a place in the country where it's still on fire and people just go to see it and prove a point and to break the records. And
A good example, I guess, no offense to him because I love the guy, but Kevin Costner, right? He and Tyler Sheridan created an amazing TV show, Yellowstone, for Paramount.
loved it.
Loved it. Great finale, everything you'd want, even though they had these real life contractual disputes, but whatever, great story. They had to have an ending anyway. But he comes out with his 4-part Horizon, and part 1 comes out, didn't really do great. There may or
Did
may
you
not
see
be
it?
a 2. I have not, but I know I could stream it tomorrow if I wanted to,
Yeah.
so I didn't have to go to the theater and rush out. I was calling it Heaven's Gate 2. No offense. Maybe that's offensive, but what can you do? But that's the model, right? It reminds me so much of when George Lucas was walking around the set of Gangs of New York with Scorsese, and he was looking at all these multi-million-dollar boats that were being built in the harbor for realism, because that's Scorsese's deal, and he's like shaking his head like, you could have done this for digital for like a 10th of the price. What are you doing? Horizon did this on the same time as Yellowstone was proving that streaming 14 episodes a season was a great way to go.
Great way to do it.
So we'll see if people go to the theater for a once-in-a-lifetime experience like a big screen Passion versus can you see I Can Only Imagine 2 on your screen? Could you see the Leave Behind series on your screen? I think that's going to be a thing. I don't know. I'm just a guy. So what makes a project Christian?
Wow. It's interesting, and I can't repeat what he says. Bart Millard of MercyMe has a really good answer for that. I should have just memorized it. Because it's not necessarily about the content anymore, nor should be. And I think that some of the Christian filmmakers still are living in the old days that it has to have, like a message on screen.
Signs and wonders.
Yeah, it really, to me, means who your audience is.
Oh.
And it should be who your audience is. Will the church watch this, right?
So it has to be okay on the big screen as well as shown in the pews the next weekend on their big set where they have the smoke machines and the bands.
Yes, that does exist.
Yeah. So an R-rated movie like a Deadpool.
If it's R-rated, but it shows character of church people, they don't. At the end of the day, they don't do something stupid and, like they stay true to their character. They stay true to their faith. It can be PG-13. It can be R. Are they going to talk about it at church on Sunday?
Like
Are
Nefarious?
Yes, like Nefarious. Are they going to talk about it and go, well, it's not a church movie. It's not a Christian film.
Right.
But they're all watching it and they're all telling their friends about it. And it has some kind of impact in them. And so that's what I think it means. Mm-hmm. But I think we get stuck in it, just like Christian radio. It has to say Jesus in it or it won't be on K-Love, or it has to have, you have to cry at the end and the guy needs to come to know Jesus at the end, or it's not a faith film. That's what it was, and I don't think that that's what it's going to be, and I think that you're showing that it won't be. That's
actually why I named this Heartland, because it's by just definition, there's faithfulness in it, but it doesn't have like Jesus walking on water. Right. It's about patriots and heartfelt people and people of faith who believe, and live happily ever after would be nice because it's so dramatic.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. And we just lost recently a songwriter who wrote Jesus Take the Wheel for Carrie Underwood, which was, I think, her first #1.
If it wasn't her first, it was her biggest.
Yeah. Yeah. And probably the most outlasting too.
Yeah.
Long-lasting one.
Brett was an amazing guy.
Brett, yeah, you knew him?
I did.
Yeah. Any comments on him?
He's just solid, man. Like, you don't meet guys like that. He just was always a good heart, good person. We weren't best friends, but every time I saw him, he was gracious and kind and hugged me, and we caught up, and then I wouldn't see him for a year or whatever. And he just was that. And there's a million people who will tell you the same thing.
His death was obviously overshadowed by Charlie Kirk. Not everybody knows it, although if you read the Heartland Journal news today, it's mentioned. But both he and Charlie Kirk were very faithful in their content creation, let's just say.
Yeah.
And look at the results, it'll outlive him long after. And most people would only ever know of him because of Spotify and streaming and like drinking water, it's free out of the cell phone.
Yeah, and those songwriters, in Nashville, he was a big deal.
Yeah.
Outside of Nashville, he was also a great performer. Like, he could play and sing. Good-looking guy. Pilot. Sad.
Yeah. Would have been one of those ones that translate into acting when you don't want to sing anymore, like Tim McGraw, although he can sing. So what do you look for in signing new artists?
I want to know that I can help them. I want to know that I can be effective, and maybe that's it's never really about the money, although you want to build them to where you can make money, but just where I can see a path. Mm-hmm. If I used to tell my staff all the time, find some kind of connection when you're meeting with them or you're finding them. It can't just be about the music, because our music, you're lying if you think I listen to everything. Well, people do listen to everything, but what do you listen to? Mm-hmm. And if you really are just trying to sign things that you really, really love and it's the greatest thing, that's amazing if you can find that. But you have to connect with them, either their live show or their personality or a combination of all of it. But then that's the first, and taking another step further is, what can I do? Is there a path? What kind of influence can I do? Can I get them in front of to make a difference to where I can grow it? If there is no path, then it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like, if I don't see it.
It's very interesting, because I know I'm a big fan of Lainey Wilson. She won the Female Artist on my award show, and she only was in 3 episodes, maybe 4 of Yellowstone, but she had 3 albums prior to that. So that overnight sensation took a long time for her.
She had been around.
But did she blow up after that? So Yellowstone was like the vehicle to help this young actress who had the singing chops for sure blow up. So that's what you're saying is, like, if you could see a path for that person to become
and she,
they're not all going to reach those heights.
She was grinding it in our club department. Her agent, Austin, Great kid, played football at Montana. We connected that the way. That was a lot of fun. But once that, she just, it was just interesting to watch that happen. She got on 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And it connected and it worked.
Yeah. And she sang on the soundtrack in the season before, so she was discovered.
But she'd been doing it a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Like she had a career. It wasn't big, but she had a career and she was going for it.
Exactly. That's the...
So she won the Heartland Award?
She did.
And
Zach
did too.
and then Kelly Riley, also from Yellowstone, for actress, and Dennis Quaid for Reagan. I'll show you one at the end what they look like.
That's funny. Now, how many years have you had this award?
That's the first annual.
So that'll
be the
first
second
annual.
one next year for this year.
How about that?
For us, it was great. And it was voted on by the subscribers.
He did a great job on Reagan, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was really funny.
And little did I know Scott Stamp played Frank Sinatra, so I'm a big fan of Creed. YouTube sensation Mr. Beast has 476 million followers, making him the most subscribed creator. How important is social media presence in signing a new artist?
Sadly, it's very, very important, Again, you have to see if they know what they're doing and they're doing it. And so many artists these days, there's a new generation of artists that grew up on it, so it's not a problem. Then you have some of these old souls or older artists, talk about MercyMe, they have no clue what to do with it.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid isn't even on Twitter.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you market yourself to compete with this younger generation that's crushing you? You're like, well, we haven't changed. The world has changed. How we promote things has changed. So it is big. It's one of the first things we look at.
Do you have agents like scouring the internet and saying, wait, this guy's got 100 million views. I never heard of him before. Let's call him. Like, is that how you're now doing A&R basically? Or
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. Because
I don't want to give away any secrets. But
No. I mean, it still
would.
can't suck because there's a lot of people with a lot of followers that I wouldn't sign because I don't know what you would do with it and it won't last.
Okay.
Or I don't think it will last. Maybe that's my opinion. But if you find the right combo, but we're looking at everything, especially in our department. I challenged my guys and like, go find alternative programming, alternative touring. And we, this last week I met with this, mom influencer, Danny Austin, and 3 million. And I call my digital department in New York and they freak out. We tried to chase her 2 years ago, but they couldn't get her on the phone. But I run the Christian department at WME and she picked right up. And I think we'll end up probably signing her.
Bingo.
Right? And because she knows I will protect, they're not going to be able to bring her things that she won't do. She has somebody in her camp at WME, a department at WME that understands it. But that came from, honestly, my assistant.
Assistant, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody
and I had somebody,
on
like
TikTok.
the Thorn came along that way. I signed this handyman Hal, which is this guy who started making videos for kids, who was a youth pastor during COVID. His social started blowing up. He got on my radar, same thing, called him. I'm working with major promoter, major producer company that is now producing the Handyman Hell tour that comes out in the spring. It all started from just paying attention to social media, watching what's happening, and then you go and you find out. But on the artist side,
when I was a kid, one of the biggest bands from the Bay Area was Journey, and they've got their new lead singer from YouTube out of Korea. And
He's
then,
great.
You've got so many stories of this where they go and you literally become an overnight sensation, literally, from the clicks, and the algorithm picks that up. And you, like we said, they can make their own money that way, but they can also become the next big Hollywood star. It's a different world.
It is crazy. So I haven't paid as much attention to it on the actors and actresses as I have the influencers and the artists. That's interesting that you say that. I need to start paying attention because I'm not looking to sign talent all the time.
Yeah. Well, I know from going to film school in LA, we had to rent the equipment and make these things. They can do it with an iPhone now, and you'll get like, that is a darn good story, and it'll be something very personal. And the technology's there to take it home, plug it into your iPad, edit it all up, put some music behind it, probably original stuff, and before you know it, you've got yourself an Jesus Revolution is a great example of this, actually. No one knew that thing was going to be made for, I think, 20 million and make 100. But that's the point, is that you can, I don't want to insult you, of course, but do you need an agent? Do you need a label? Do you need a studio to actually become the next, big money project out there? It's happening every day.
Every day. So my answer to that is yes, you do need an agent. And it's
and your phone number is? Yeah.
And your phone. No, here's the thing. To defend the agent and the agencies, there are so many people out there doing it so well without agents or managers. And I think sometimes it takes a really special person to be able to do that because it's a lot of work. But information is key. Knowledge is key. We touch everything, so we know everything that's going on. We know the deals that are being cut. And I'm not saying you can't go out and cut those deals. You may just be savvy enough to get all the things that you want to do. You also may tick them off and then walk away if you push too hard. We know all the deals that are being done. So that in that information, we're very good negotiators. We can bring opportunities that you haven't thought about. So I'm not saying you have to have an agent, because you don't. There's too many people out having too much
like
success
John
without
Rich
it.
discovered the guy who did Richmond, north of Richmond, and that YouTube sensation blew up, and he sold a bunch of records. I think it was number one.
It was.
And John also releases his stuff and becomes number one.
Becomes number one. It's all social
Jason
media.
Aldean we talked about with his...
Yeah, blew up the internet.
Blew up the internet.
I'm hoping the movie blows up the internet.
I'm sure it will.
I mean, I talked to a couple of Hollywood guys, I don't know. And I'm like, you're wrong. The internet's going to explode when this movie comes out. Yeah. And you're going to regret not wanting to be involved in it. And it's just where we're at. A buddy of mine, Brandon Ebel from Seattle, who run Tooth and Nail Records, his nephew was Max McCown, and watched him over the last couple of years blow up. And he started sending it to me and goes, his YouTube views. I'm like, yeah, he's pretty good. And now he's selling out everywhere.
When I started out in the business, before I even had a license, in the wealth management business, I was an institutional sales and trader, and we took Yahoo public. And we heard so much pushback, like, it's a trend. It'll never last. Not everyone has a computer. Not everyone has online. It's not AOL's dial-up. It's terrible. Never going to happen. It happened in a big way. It changed. I mean, we're talking trillions of dollars of data centers now for this whole thing. So how will AI affect agents in the next 5 years?
We're trying to figure that out. It's over my pay grade, probably. I need to pay more attention. AI scares me. My big line is, I saw Terminator, and I know how it ends.
But that's how to help humanity. But agents need to use it to scour the internet to find the next sensation out of South Korea.
It's helping so much. Some of these, obviously the younger generation is using it a lot more than I am, and not meaning to completely date myself, but finding out, exploring and mining for things. It just will instantly pull it up.
Well, see, BMI, they know every coffee shop in Bangladesh that plays a hit song to get those 22 cents or whatever the case may be. Agents need to do that too, to figure out, like, who are they listening to in Marrakesh or Madagascar
100%.
So we can sign them and make them huge.
All of it.
There would never have been a king and country had they not been doing it the old-fashioned way, where they had to wait and see Amy Grant break out into Australia from America to follow in that trail. Nowadays, you could be that cab driver and be the next hit maker.
It's insane, and it's just going so fast. Like, we're sitting here talking about how social media blows things up, and then you throw in the AI, and it's like things are going to come and go, and it happens so fast, and you're trying to keep up. Yeah, AI is just kind of scary. Yeah. Like, talking about writers, I can tell you what, like, not that you asked this, I can tell when people send me something that AI wrote. I don't know why.
For writers, yeah. Yeah, there's still a robotic nature to it.
It still is. But as far as information, and me just saying
information
key, animation,
there's a band that's actually charting that is not even humans. It's AI. They're four guys, but they're not real.
Songwriting, all of it. You can say, write me a song, and a Zach Bryan song, but write it, but with Taylor Swift lyrics or something, and they'll just. It's like, well, that doesn't suck.
It's terrible.
And it's just crazy. But information, if I'm saying information is key, how quickly you can get the information, mine for information, and find out what's happening. That's funny you say,
Yeah. Well, we had, for the last decade, we've had The Voice and American Idol. And so they would find these people with A&R.
Yeah.
That's who I personally think are going to be the first line to drop, because you can scour the internet as an A&R algorithm and find those people and call them on the phone and say, would you like to do this for real money? And the answer will be yes. That's how Elvis was kind of discovered, by a carnival barker. So we'll see. But I think
that's
AI
so
as a tool more than as a creator, you will be the phone book. Like, why wouldn't they want to work with you instead of some young kid who they went to high school with who says, I'll treat you really nice? Like, no, like, let's make this happen. So we'll see.
On our end too, it's like we think about it and talk about it like somebody calling, hey, I'm looking for this Festival of Ales. Who do you have, right? on our Nashville roster or even hundreds and hundreds of artists, who's available on April 13th through 18th, who's in this price range, boom, boom, boom. You're feeding them information. If not, you're scouring through, your data and your database and your calendars and trying to find out. It's just like information.
My job in college was a manager of talent. And the reason I did that is because I didn't want to be an agent of talent, because they had file cabinets full of thousands of names they've never heard of before. And the managers, we just had 10, some screenwriters, mostly actors, actresses, and one director. Mm-hmm. I could dedicate my whole time to them. The internet can do that for you, and you can do it for all 1,000 instead of you having to say like, who have I forgotten lately? And
change the game.
Yeah, it can. It's a filter. It's a tool, and gives you scale. Jelly Roll and Post Malone, Christian EDM dance music. EDM stands for electronic dance music, like raves, but Christian. What are some trends that you see in the CCM sector?
Definitely EDM has a shot, right? I did tell you that sometimes we tend to stay a little bit behind the curve. I don't really feel that way creatively anymore, but trends that happen in the general market, EDM being a party, for the most part, a party genre. Mm-hmm. We have several of our EDM acts, several of our Latin club acts that have all become believers over the last 5 years. Mm-hmm.
Tip of the spear now, not the tail.
Correct. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, that's the way it works.
And so I get drawn in on some of that, or some of my staff will get drawn in on some of that. So I do believe, like I'm telling you, those things will happen. I just think, if I'm answering your question right, all those things, Jelly Roll and Brandon doing so well, them being so outspoken and fearless and outspoken on their faith, them not getting canceled for speaking of their faith, which is a massive deal. The permission to speak. Actually, at some point, maybe even not encouraged, but emboldened to speak.
To be leaders like Charlie was.
To be leader like Charlie was. And Charlie is, wow.
Yeah, if he spawns 10 million guys like him that are willing to speak, and gals like his wife, then Jelly Roll can do 1 million or 2, 10, 20.
It's funny when I started seeing it, and I've had this conversation, is like it felt like the comedians were the first ones to, if I can say, put their middle finger up and say, I dare you to cancel me, and speak how they felt.
Kid Rock said that, literally. I'm too big to cancel.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, I didn't even know.
Well, there you go.
And it feels like now then it felt like athletes. Now it's feeling like musicians. Next is going to come actors and actresses in Hollywood.
One day politicians are always last.
Politicians are always last. Gosh, you know the drill. Yeah, so I kind of feel that. And not be scared to be canceled. And then we're going to be in a different place.
So given that, do you think CCM is having a moment now with the success of artists like Forrest Frank, Steve Schluter, I don't even know how to say it,
Schuyler.
Jelly Roll and Brandon Lake,
yeah.
Or maybe it has legs?
I would hope that it has legs. I hope that we're creating a world where they can just be. They can be great artists and actually speak about their faith. And the labels will catch up, and the radio stations, they'll play things. They won't limit them, like I was saying, even in content, expanding your horizons and tell different stories, to where maybe these songs don't necessarily have to be Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. They can just be great songs by great Christian artists. Mm-hmm. I really hope that we can kind of create that. Mm-hmm. I know it will never fully be that because it's Christian music. Mm-hmm. It's not music.
Well, it took 2,025 years for us to get to this moment where you're the tip of the spear. Well, maybe another 2,000.
And go back and talk about Amy and Michael. That was the OGs. Like you listen to Amy's,
the Gaithers.
Gaithers. But but Amy, all her songs weren't just, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Kind of an early crossover.
It was kind of the original crossover. Lauren's the same way.
Yeah. Like you said, it has to be good.
It has
you
to
can
be
the best, and like the song Hallelujah. You can listen to that if you're an atheist, if you were born
just a
yesterday.
Great song. The chorus is great. It's like
and the
you
most
can't
covered
not
of all
sing
time.
it after you hear it. What?
The most covered song of all time.
Not nuts.
Every single person who can sing has done it, even those who can't, like me. Texas got $2 billion, and California countered with $256 million in TV tax credits to try to keep the industry home. Rob Lowe went viral saying it's cheaper to produce a show in Ireland with a whole crew than across the street in his Burbank studio. Why did you choose Tennessee where the incentives aren't so great?
Well, I was here because music was here. Music was here because it's the hub of it's where all the buses and production and most every major tour in the country launches from here. And so people kept moving. As the influx, and you're interviewing probably a lot of them, influx of Hollywood moves here, someday there's going to be a movement for some tax credits as everybody flees and California tries to keep them. So I didn't come here.
It was $2.5 million when I got here. I got it to 10 recurring, so they don't have to fight for it anymore. We are on our way to $500 million. I hope my fingers are crossed.
Really?
And I'll take the no credit for that because I don't want anyone to know, except for my friends watching this show. But it was $2 million when I got here, and I'm like, that isn't even craft services. What are you talking about? So we got it to 10 with a lot of help from a senator named Jack Johnson. So we'll keep it going. Not the musician. He is a musician, but not the Jack Johnson.
Oh, that Jack Johnson's a musician too?
He does. He's got the Austin Brothers Band. He's been on the show several times. As a matter of fact, Thrive Label Group outside
Brothers?
of this office records his stuff.
Really?
Austin Brothers is Jack and his Franklin PD friend Charlie, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Small town, right?
Small town. And it really is a small town.
That's why I love it.
I keep talking about wanting to get everybody together, like everybody who's moved here, like going out to South or something and doing just a big meet and greet with no agenda, and just so everybody can see everybody and meet everybody who's here, because it's every day, and you know this.
That would cover the Ryman 3 times over.
It really would. It would be like, just, I want everybody to come. And the question is why Nashville. I didn't really come here for that reason, but it's fun to watch. Yeah, we just need more. Like, we need to figure out distribution. We just need more things. Yes, it's grown. It's grown
I'm
tremendously.
Convinced. I mean, Tim McGraw, he was selling out stadiums, and he decided to be, in movies too. And so that's the model. Is like these good-looking and singer-songwriters can also act. And so why not do it from home? Don't go to L.A. where you get mugged or whatever. And under the California 4.0 incentive programs, qualified productions can now receive a 35 to 40% refundable incentive back between 2025 and 2030. That is hard to beat. I think the Oklahoma Cherokee Nation does 40%, so they beat it. But you got to be in Oklahoma. Were you to pick a location right now, where would you go?
Well, we end up in Oklahoma a lot. The problem is you can't always make something. Oklahoma's very distinctive in how it looks, right?
Unless you digitize the ocean like they did in Reagan and say, that's the ranch, but it isn't.
It's not the ranch.
But they got 40% back.
I'm excited about Kentucky. Feels like you can't get anywhere. You can't get anything. It seems like Georgia is overwhelmed. And it's wrong probably to say, I just want to keep trying to film here.
Yeah.
And
it's great here.
It is great. And everybody's here. If we can build infrastructure
between Memphis,
here.
Nashville, and Chattanooga, and Knoxville, I mean, you've got all four corners of the earth. You can do anything.
You can make it look like anything. You got the talent here. I just want to keep
inside
growing
the
it here.
studio with talent engineers, you don't even need to go outside. So it doesn't matter if you're in Ireland or if you're in Argentina or Nashville studio.
There's still the infrastructure and the incentives in Canada, obviously. So some of these things, you watch some of these shows like on the WB. Being from the Northwest, you can always tell when it's being filmed in Vancouver.
Yeah. Well, I was on those sets. I remember. I was like, that doesn't look like LA, but they did it anyway.
They did it anyway. So I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I'm just going to, because I can do what I want to do, and if it financially makes sense where we can stay here and film, I want to stay here and film.
And I'm going to keep trying to get the state to pay attention to this, because all 95 counties have a project going all the time. They need to help these people because it does have an 8 ROI. I've already proved it. And
keep pushing.
I will. The Hollywood double strike between the Writers Guild of America and SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Union, against major studios and streamers represented by the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, ended in 2023 after reaching tentative deals regarding issues such as wages, residuals from streaming, and protections against the use of artificial intelligence. How did that affect you? And we haven't even seen the ramifications of it yet. What lasting impact do you think the settlement is going to have on talent?
I mean, it didn't. The strike hurt me just basically because my agency got crippled, right?
Because nobody could work.
Because nobody could work. And although on the touring side, as we were rallying back from COVID and having success, it was really tough. Financially, it was tough. So personally, like with bonuses and things like that, we all had to tighten. We all had to play our part. It didn't. We had nothing to do with it on the music side. I'd love to say you know a lot more about it than I do. Is like I watched it go down. We were a huge part of it. Probably one of the biggest reasons it happened because of some of our actions and things that we had done. We were a big part in helping get it finished. So I can't honestly say the future impact of it.
Okay.
It feels like we still, the only thing that I could say that I feel that I deal with here is union versus non-union writers, actors, directors, and budget-wise, and people wanting to get into that and stay out of it. I just think when it's some of the bigger projects, you just have to be in the union, you know.
Yeah.
But they really are trying around here to not do it and to try and keep budgets down. I think sometimes it hurts the quality. I'm just not a big union guy,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
think it all
respect that
kinda
answer.
sucks.
I remember being in college in the 80s and asking a professor, like, what do you think the ultimate effects of the Napoleonic Wars will be? And he said, too soon to tell. So, you know, you just never know how history's going to go.
I really don't know.
But they say the strike cost the industry $5 billion, but writers and actors may have been worse off without it. What do you say? AI can pretty much write a script. We talked about that. It can animate a feature-length film. Are they any better off post the settlement? Or
The writers?
Yeah.
I feel that they are.
Okay.
They act like they are.
Okay.
They seem to be happy about it.
Actors too?
The actors too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
they feel like
I
they
guess
got.
it was a
yeah.
force for good.
Yeah.
I loved it because it happened at the same time as the Reagan movie, and that showed
All of
Reagan
it.
fighting the unions in the early days, and that he did that. But it made him a Republican ultimately because he's like, well, these people are crazy. They left me, not I didn't leave them. They say Hollywood is the city it is, and it's true. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's in decline because major studios have moved headquarters and main operations outside of California into states like Georgia. Georgia just lost Marvel Disney to the UK, a move that gutted the Peach State's film industry. They gave out $887 million in film credits just last year, $4.4 billion in 2022, $2.6 billion in 2024. That's a lot of money, taxpayer money. Do you think states should get out of the movie-making business or double down, so to speak, like Texas just did?
It feels right that Texas has doubled down. I mean, it just is a creative city and people want to be there. I think it feels the same way. I wish Nashville, same reason why you want Nashville to get in it, because we're all here.
Yeah.
The Georgia thing is interesting to me. I need to dig in and find out what all is the UK offering. You had said earlier, it's like that's pretty substantial because Marvel was like, it feels like an old mining town that ran out of things to mine and everybody's just going to leave with Marvel gone.
MGM, you know, they did all the Star Wars and they did all the James Bonds and such, and that's now owned by Amazon. And so I'm assuming that it has something to do with that because Georgia is not owned by Amazon yet.
Yet. Interesting. That's going to be the one to watch, is what happens in Georgia with all those studios. You know, our good friends at Trillith just built that big new studio, and they're doing all those things, which that was their jam.
Yeah, Trillith owned by the Chick-fil-A family.
Yeah, and trying to fill that. And I know they've been struggling to try and...
Yeah, because it's a real estate play. If it's empty, it's like a rental, commercial rental Starbucks in a city that no one wants to go to. You got to close it. You can't have it.
It is 100% a real estate play. People that would always trying to raise funds to start a studio and say, I want to get in the movie business. And you're like, no, you just want to be in the real estate business.
Yeah. I'd rather have a studio with a P.O. box than a studio with land, especially in Burbank.
Right now. And Georgia sounds like they're about to go through it. But yeah, the people are, industry was built around it.
Yeah.
And when everybody starts leaving, that's why I say like the mining town or whatever, it's like, it's gone. The train still comes through here, but nobody's here.
I wasn't going to throw this out there, but my theory is that Hollywood, once they went through the mob, and we've seen movies like The Godfather and Bugsy and all the stuff that built Vegas, then they started looking for, rich people to fund their movies. Then they went to Korea and Japan. Mm-hmm. Japan said that sucked, and they got bit. They created Sony, but it wasn't good for them. China, we've been through this now, and they kind of messed with Top Gun 2. Didn't work out, so they've lost some of their power. Hollywood's always been kind of looking for the next sucker just to get that movie out there. And so we had a Harvey Weinstein for a while, and now he's gone. And we had the Warner Brothers, and now they're gone, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Faith-based films seem to be the new bastion of where it's kind of bringing in what we would call dumb money if it was Wall Street. And no offense, it's a great product, but the investors may not be so happy all the time. And that's why incentives are so important, because you got to treat that money really well. Mm-hmm. No one wants to spend $100,000 of their investment money for the hairstylist, right? But they want the next Academy Award, absolutely. They want to hang out with the folks on the red carpet. Do you see the industry of faith-based films starting to attract what I'm going to call dumb money, which we all know that ends in tears, and it could actually set the genre back if no one wants to participate?
So I don't really feel the dumb money, the dumb Hollywood money coming to faith films yet, but there are a lot of families and ministries, and I see a lot of that, and I know a lot of those organizations that are out working on finding that money. But it is, you say dumb money. It's like in our world, it's emotional. Like, this story has to be told. I want to make sure the story gets out there. But I said earlier at the beginning of this business, making movies is not a business. It's so risky, and it's the return. Like, I believe that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
These people just get bit, and then they never do it again.
Yeah. Well, like The Chosen, you can auction off, and the closer to the Jesus actor you are, the more you gave, and they use that money to develop their film. Okay, so now, is that dumb money, or is that just maybe a waste of money, or some rich person's like, my niece wants to see me next to Jesus. How cool is that? I get it. But when you're talking about like incentives of a state or a city like Memphis, and they spend the money to develop Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's TV show, which you would think is a sure thing, and it gets canceled, and all of a sudden you're on the hook for all this taxpayer money, politicians are not very happy about that. Mm-mm. They want to make sure that there's an ROI every single time, or else they got to answer to it. This is what happened with Japan. They bought Spyglass Golf Course and went bankrupt, and they're like, well, that real estate in America is not so great after all.
It's just, again, movie business should just be the movie. It's not the business. It's just so risky, and then, that The Rock in Memphis is a really great example. Like, we're all, and I just keep saying, trying to find infrastructure is distribution. Like, who are we selling to? Who's buying? Are we to continue to be able to sell to them? Can we build a sustainable business, a content business, other than in Hollywood? And now you're talking about Georgia has not been a sustainable business, and people are leaving. It's without hits, without buyers, and us trying to figure out what's going to happen with streaming and how people are going to make money, and the networks are just going to be streaming. How long are the networks going to be around? Ad revenues on the networks compared to the streaming. Now you're providing a service and you get, commercials. Like, we're trying to figure it out. And so you can't count on things being a hit.
Right.
And all of a sudden now Yellowstone does really well, and everybody wants to tell a Western. And then the faith movie does well, so everybody wants to tell faith. We're chasing it.
Oh, and the cyclicality of Westerns is exactly like, only with longer lead times, the faith-based movies. You go from the era of the Ten Commandments and El Cid to the drought of that, but in comes the Westerns, and then comes back Sound of Freedom and Jesus Revolution, and then in comes Yellowstone. It's pretty funny how they kind of trend together. And Jesus was a cowboy. We can talk about that another time. But
that's interesting. I like that.
So tell us your vision for Third Coast Film. What can we look forward to in the future?
So Third Coast Film, is my client, obviously WME client. And so what I'm looking forward to with them is really just making the content that we want to make, telling the stories we want to take. But the original, it's interesting because we're in a little bit of a flux, Third Coast Film is. The original Third Coast Film was started, we really wanted to just make, TV, sell things, create, develop, sell. Like I'm telling you about, the business is scary. Not go raise $5 million, $2 million, $10 million of somebody's money to make a movie and hope for the best. Find the right distributor, find the right studio to partner with, whatever, and to do it like that. But it's all changing so fast and so much. The Up Networks and GAFs and the Hallmarks and the Lifetimes, the ones that are buying those, and we're buying those, the BETs, the INSPs, their budgets have gotten so small. They're creating their own content, starting to get into some more series stuff, which I think we'll do as well, which is exciting. So we're having to kind of figure it out, because it started with...
People forget, I just got to throw this out there since we're doing this for posterity. The government told studios, they couldn't distribute. They literally cut that off for them. And so there was a third party that you're always dealing with distribution. With the internet, that's gone.
Gone.
But the industry still stuck with that. So
Yeah.
if they wanted to distribute Mission Impossible through Tom Cruise's own website, he can't.
He can't.
But I can if I decided to make a knockoff of it and do it on my Rumble channel.
So we're figuring it out. Third Coast Film. I love them. I think that we've got 2 movies that hopefully we'll get one of them made this year and then maybe one first quarter. And I don't know. Just keep plugging along.
Okay. Well, that's all we
Build
can
a business. I don't really know. I would say great people, good hearts, tell some great stories, and hopefully do some smart business along the way.
Okay.
As the agent.
To stay in business.
And as the agent, that's what I try and drive home.
Well, you've had a wonderful career, Mike. What did you like more, being a musician, an agent, founder of Third Coast Artist Agency before moving to WME in 2014, the good old days, leading Christian division to the merged mega company, or now with TCF? What's your favorite era of the Mike Snider
My favorite
saga?
era? Well, there's always something romantic and fun about building your own business. So those Third Coast Artist days, those 10 or 12 years or whatever that was, when you sign MercyMe and David Crowder and you do all these things and things start to happen. And I had come, I moved, my first job was at Margaritaville Records when I moved to town. And so I didn't come out of this space.
Okay.
And being a believer late in life and this kind of falling into it and fell in love with the people and the genre, that was probably the most fun because it was getting up early, staying out late, building something. I feel like I'm a builder. And then I took a minute of running Paradigm and doing some country and getting back into that. And then I just kind of found where my favor was in things of faith. And so being at WME and seeing what WME does on a grand scale and how much reach and touch they have with the best of the best, it just kind of came to where it's like, why don't I use that with my influence and what I can do and build a little faith side of WME that is grander than and bigger than just booking shows and signing artists? Can I do TV? Can I do film? Can I book comedians, which we've just launched, and we're doing clean comedy out of Nashville now, which is being run out of my department, right?
Yep.
Not all Christian comedians, but you watch what's happening with Nate Bargatze. So that period of time probably was my most favorite, growing my original business and having the people that I've done life with, to my staff right now, the artists that I have right now, where Christian music is, and the ability to go out and do content at the same time and grow it from, I'm working on I Can Only Imagine the musical and Kirk Franklin the musical.
Awesome.
That's just so much fun, right? I'm working on Handyman Hal. I'm working on comedy. I'm working on The Thorn. I'm doing I Can Only Imagine 2. I'm doing Third Coast Film. I'm doing a Deborah movie. I'm doing, it's just a really fun time. So why would I not love this?
Deborah from the Bible?
Yeah.
I was just talking to Nick Searcy about that yesterday.
Really? What did Nick Searcy have to say?
I was telling him about it, and he said, "Where's that story from?" I was trying to get his writer to take a look at it because Deborah's she's it. She's Joan of Arc and Gina Carano all rolled into one.
Nick was talking about this?
I was telling him about it.
I have the script you need to read. I'm making the movie.
All right, we'll talk about that later. Charlie White.
That is so weird.
I know, because it's the Bible, and that happens every time.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that came
and
out.
had I never been sitting across from you with this microphone, you never would have even heard me see it. But
I
you were
would've
already
known.
on it. You're there. You don't need me.
I
Charlie
might
White,
need you.
how is working with the daughter? And you said late in life you became a believer. She is your daughter. It must have something to do with it.
Yeah. She's amazing. She's having a hard time right now. How is working with her?
Yeah.
Well, she says it's hard. She tells me it's one of the hardest things she's ever had to do is working with me. I'm having a blast. I'm watching my daughter, who has been trying to find out what she wants to do since, whenever, since she got out of college, worked in the music, worked in real estate, and when this happened, watching her just all of a sudden, this is what she's called to do. And she has this, have you seen the Binge Files yet?
Yeah.
And so she's just always been made to do this. She knows every actor, director, producer, movie, always has seen everything, has a great thoughts on it. And so now she's just blossomed into this amazing woman that just like, she's going to be running this show.
Well, what could be better than that?
She will be running this show. And she's found her voice. She's found her strength and her confidence. She was always confident. You've met her. She's always been confident. But this is her thing.
Awesome.
So it's fun for me as a dad to watch.
You did it, man. You did it. That's the trifecta. That's what you needed. You got the career, you got the life, and you got the legacy. Well, thank you for your time. We are at the end here, so tell everyone where they can find out more about you and follow your social media if you do that, or what they can see from you next.
I'm not much of a social media guy.
It's a problem. We talked about that.
What's that?
That's a problem. We talked about that.
So
WME has a website.
WME for sure. My department, we were the first department inside of WME to have our own website, which they got mad at me about, and our own Instagram, social media. And now all the departments have them now. And I now have to run it through WME. I got in trouble. I always get in trouble doing things that I'm not supposed to do. But we definitely have one. WME has one. You know what? I don't know what to say about following me, but
okay,
just watch what we do.
Well, Third Coast Film has a website. We'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
And of course, WME has probably one of the world's biggest content.
Sing a song about the heartland, the only place I feel at home. Sing about the way a good man works until the daylight's gone.
Thanks for coming back. It's that time to share and remind everyone to please subscribe to heartlandjournal.com. That is how we grow and keep this content free for you. I know you know people that will find this one very interesting, so please forward it around. Thanks for doing it. Now the Heartland Journal news. You know, Greater Minnesota really is mostly rocks and cows. And that's something to be proud of. By Karen Tolkinen, the Minnesota Star Tribune. As Governor Tim Walz enters the home stretch as the Democratic vice presidential nominee, I have to say I never understood why everybody got mad at him for saying Greater Minnesota is mostly rocks and cows. I mean, he's mostly right. Farmers know it. You walk your fields in the spring, and what are you doing? Picking rocks, right? Moving those chunks of granite or whatnot that have floated to the surface over the past year so they don't damage your planter or harvest equipment. Who doesn't have a few rock piles along the edges of your farm's fields? You can find some pretty nice boulders there, and lake people will actually buy them for their shorelines or maybe as garden statements. Shoot, we have whole counties and cities named after rocks. Rock County, Big Stone County, Pipestone City and County, Granite Falls, Sandstone, Rockford, Rockville, Rock Creek. There's Rolling Stone in Winona County, which presumably gathers no moss. There's Marble in Ithaca County. In Pipestone, there's Jasper, which would be argued is quartz, not rock. But if you were walking over it at twilight, you wouldn't know the difference. Crow Wing County has Ironton. St. Louis County has Iron Junction and Mountain Iron, as well as Biwabik, which comes from the Obi-Jobi word for iron. Otter Tail County has Dent, which is what happens if a rock hits your car. Apologies in advance, my Otter Tail County neighbors. Plus, rocks have an illustrious history in Greater Minnesota. Iron ore used to make steel, fed and clothed generations of Iron Rangers. There are agates, beloved by North Shore visitors, and the official state gemstone. And then, of course, there's the world-renowned Kensington Runestone, now housed in the Runestone Museum in Alexandria, carved with Norse characters that many believe prove that the Vikings explored Minnesota centuries before Father Hennepin laid eyes on what he named St. Anthony Falls. Other famous Minnesota rocks include the Jeffers petroglyphs, which are carved by Native Americans that date back 7,000 years, and the ancient pictoglyphs on rocks in the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. If you want to sink into deep geologic time, the rocks of the Minnesota River Valley in southwest and south central Minnesota are 3.5 billion years old, among the oldest on the planet. A lot of rocks. Yeah, Waltz gets it. And for the alleged cow insult, let's dissect that. According to the National Agricultural Statistics Service, there were 2.13 million cattle and calves in Minnesota as of January 1. Of the 5.8 million Minnesotans, about 2.6 million live outside the 7-county Twin Cities metropolitan area. So yeah, Definitely more people than cows in greater Minnesota. That holds true even when you add in the 16,000 cows in Ruth Klossner's Cow Museum in Bernadette, just outside New Ulm. Still, raising beef cattle on dairy cattle is a point of pride for many of this state's farmers. You may have seen the sleek, well-tended heifers and steers at the Minnesota State Fair. Now, those animals look their absolute best when they visit the Twin Cities because it's showtime. Back on the farm, they tend to put on their sweats, and leave off the deodorant. That's not to say the farmers don't care about their animals. Many work hard to provide fresh pasture and shade and to keep their animals healthy. And just like mining bovines have put a roof over the heads of generations of Minnesota families. If rural Minnesotans were ashamed of being known for cows, I doubt anyone would have built Buffy the cow, a 20-foot long, 15-foot tall horned Holstein that stood atop an office building in Austin for 4 decades before moving to the Mower County Fairgrounds. Republicans have never let Waltz forget the rocks and cows comment. Here's how it started. He was explaining election maps to a Minnesota audience following the 2016 election. The map showed small blue pools of Democratic cities surrounded by huge red seas across greater Minnesota. You see those maps, Walt said, red and blue, and there's all that red across there, and Democrats go into depression over it. It's mostly rocks and cows that are in that red area. Strategist pounced. The Republican governor claimed he was attacking rural areas, knowing full well that his point was that rural areas are much more sparsely populated than urban. Rocks and cows? Add in a bunch of lakes and rivers, and that's who we are. Let's own it. All 2.6 million of us humans in greater Minnesota. Karen Tolkenhin is a columnist for the Minnesota Star-Tribune focused on the issues and people of greater Minnesota. Minnesota went only 50.92 Harris and hometown boy Walz versus Trump 46.68%. While Trump lost the state, he narrowed the margin compared to the 2020 election and flipped several counties from blue to red, including Carlton County, which had not voted Republican since 1928. Maybe, just maybe, they figured out that ignoring your farmers isn't a popular strategy. 1,519,032 Minnesotans that voted Trump think so. According to the USDA's 2022 census, there are about 1.9 million farmers and approximately 3.4 million agricultural producers in the United States. You can win elections with those guys and gals. Data from the 2024 election cycle confirms that farmers and farming-dependent communities overwhelmingly vote for the Republican Party. In the 2024 presidential election, Donald Trump was backed by nearly 78% of voters in farming-dependent counties, a slight increase from his support in 2020. An analysis of U.S. congressional districts found that Republicans represent 81 of the top 100 districts in agricultural production. Data from the Pew Research Center indicates that rural counties have been trending increasingly Republican for over 2 decades. That's 20 years for you liberals if you're still listening. The Republican Party now holds a 25-point advantage in party identification among rural voters. Hello, you can't call a farm a blue city, right? No sanctuary farms, as they say. A growing political divide exists between rural and urban areas in the United States, with rural areas skewing conservative. Research suggests that while farmers' attitudes may not be more extreme than urban residents, their districts tend to elect more conservative representatives. 2028 election will be interesting. Watch the farmer vote. Make America great again. Thomas Jefferson had much to say about agriculture during the founding years of our great nation. Here are a few of my favorite quotes. Cultivators of the earth are the most valuable citizens. They are the most vigorous, the most independent, the most virtuous, and they are tied to their country, and wedded to its liberty and interest by the most lasting bands. Agriculture is our wisest pursuit because it will, in the end, contribute most to real wealth, good morals, and happiness. What a great formula. Whenever there are in this country uncultivated lands and unemployed poor, it is clear that the laws of property have been so far extended as to violate natural right. The earth is given as a common stock for man to labor and live on. The small landowners are the most precious part of a state, right? Not rocks and cows, common stock. If people let government decide what foods they eat and what medicines they take, their bodies will soon be in as sorry a state as are the souls of those who live under tyranny. Can you believe that? He said that. Those who labor in the earth are the chosen people of God. If ever he had a chosen people whose breast he has made his peculiar deposit for substantial and genuine virtue, it is the focus in which he keeps alive that sacred fire which otherwise might escape from the face of the earth. Smart man. I think he was onto something. That is it for this episode. Thank you, Mike Snider, for keeping the Christian film genre alive and well so the gospel can be spread using the greatest means of communication, movies, and playing a role in popular culture. Now the word can be heard by more people than ever before, fulfilling the Great Commission. God bless you. This is goodbye for now. I'm your host, Steve Abramowitz, editor-in-chief of HeartlandJournal.com. See you all next time. Peace in our time, and definitely glory to God.
This is as much surgery as you can do to a piano. This is the project that every piano technician dreams about doing, where we can take a potentially beautiful instrument and try to really optimize it. There's nothing like hearing one of the pianos you've worked on in a recording or in a film score. I mean, you get this vicarious thrill. It's a very traditional process building a piano. And if you come up with something that is new, watch out. That's supposed to be, hold it.
Most pianists are ignorant about their instrument, and as a group, they are more uninformed than players of other musical instruments.
I saw a lot of incredible pianists, and some of them were not doing it as a profession. They were doctors or actors or lawyers. And I was still just a student, and I realized then that I wasn't going to be ever a professional pianist.
Here it get better. It's better, worse, best. Don't. This can't happen. It just can't happen. This is going to be a nice piano. I know that.
Heartland Journal Podcast is the media property of HeartlandJournal.com, where you can find news stories, commentary, and content serving the heartland of America. Any views or opinions represented on the podcast are personal and belong solely to the creator and do not represent those of the people, institutions, or organizations that the creator may or may not be associated with in professional or personal capacity unless explicitly stated.